This is going to be one of the hardest videos I've ever made. Today we are going to be doing the top 5 films released in 2023. I want to very quickly say this is in, first off, no order. And also this is just a personal opinion. I know there are going to be people who have different opinions because, let's be honest, 2023 had so many good films released this year. So it's going to be a difficult one. I've made my list, and at the end I'm going to go through all the other films that definitely could have made it in here. Of course, I might have missed some, and on top of that, some people might think that, oh, this deserved to be in there, this deserved to be in there. Well, like I said, this is a really hard list. Like, I struggled to put ones in here. I think there were one or two that were like, yeah, that's definitely going in there, but there were just a load of films that were like, oh, this is so good, but I just don't know if it's going to make it in. But I've managed to come up with a top 5, and without a doubt, we are going to get straight into this, so let's go. Again, this being in absolutely no order, but in 5th position, I have gone with The Equalizer 3. This film was fantastic. It had a load of action in it, and honestly, if you're into The Equalizer, if you've watched the film series, if you've watched 1 and 2, you're definitely going to love number 3. This is the film where Robert finds his new life. He is in southern Italy, and he's surrounded by people who love him and he loves, which is great. It's quite wholesome, actually, and that's, you know, again, part of the reason why I love it. But then the mafia is basically hurting his friends, and you know Robert, he's not gonna let that slide, so he takes it into his own hands. He takes care of the mafia, and he's a badass. Let's just put it like that. He protects his friends, he protects the ones that he loves. That is what The Equalizer 3 is about. Again, quite wholesome in a way, but obviously if you're looking for that action, it's got plenty of it, so you don't need to worry about that. So the budget for this film was $70 million US, and in the box office it made $190 million. So that is a profit of $120 million overall, which is pretty good. Okay, going on to the next film, I've decided to go with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Again, this was a fantastic film, full of action and whatnot, and this film was nearly 3 hours long, so normally for me, I'm not a guy who likes long films like 3 hours or plus. However, this film was that good to the point where, even though it was 3 hours long, it didn't feel 3 hours long. It felt like a standard running time, and that's what I like about films. If you can do that, you know you've done a pretty good job. This film, again, was full of action, and on top of that, it included Simon Pegg. Obviously, he's been in the previous films, but this is just another reason to love this film. Simon Pegg is a fantastic comedian. He made this film, you know, have that comedic value. It was funny, but on top of that, yes, if you're looking for that action, then, you know, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, was really good. Fantastic film. Now, this film had a pretty big budget. It had $291 million US. And in the box office, it made $568 million US, which is a profit of $277 million. Which, again, that's pretty good, to be fair. Number 3. Now, I think some people might agree, and some people might disagree, and that's completely fair enough. I've gone with Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was a really good film in my experience. I really enjoyed Oppenheimer. I don't really see a reason to hate it, because the thing is, there is no action. If you're expecting action, it's not the film for you. I myself love action. However, I also like story writing as well. This film was 3 hours long. It had no action, but it was purely story based, story written. And what I love about this film is that even though it's 3 hours long, it manages to keep your attention. It manages to keep you intrigued, like, whoa, what's gonna happen, you know, kind of thing. And it was still a fantastic film. However, if I was going to do an order for this list, I would probably put Oppenheimer right at the bottom. I'd probably put it 5th. Simply being because this film, you can only watch once. That's how I see. You can only watch this film once and that's it. To me, there's no replay value. I don't really see the point in watching it a second time. But nonetheless, I still found it a unique experience. It was something that was still fun to watch. Something that, again, kept you intrigued, but now you've kind of watched it, I don't really see the point in watching it again. That's just my opinion, and of course, some people are gonna, disagree. Some people might agree as well, which, great, but if you don't, then that's fine. If you were to watch it again, of course you can, but just me personally, I don't see the replay value in the film. Nonetheless, that's not to say that the film was bad. The film was actually really, really good, and I personally really enjoyed it. The budget for this film was $100 million. The box office was $953 million. That's a profit of $853 million US, which is pretty damn impressive. However, as we go on to the future films, the rest of the films that are in this list, that is not the most that has been made. So, let's go on to number 2, which number 2 I have gone with Super Mario Bros. Now, the one thing about this film, we had Chris Pratt playing Mario. Now, remember me and my friends, we were a bit unsure. We were like, is that the right casting, was that right? We went and watched the film. We weren't optimistic, but we watched it, and it was fantastic. They did a really good job, actually, and I was quite surprised. No offense, of course, to the actors, but I was quite surprised that it worked as well. But hey, it worked, so that's the main thing. That is, amazing. Congrats to that. This film also includes Charles Martinet, which he is the original creator, or the original voice creators of Mario and Luigi. Again, this film had a budget of $100 million US. But in the box office, this made $1.36 billion US, which is a profit of $1.26 billion, which, wow, that is a lot. And quite deservingly as well. It was a fantastic film. It was amazing, and I personally really enjoyed it. My friends did as well. And so this film really, really deserved the love that it received. And for the last spot, I've gone with John Wick 4. I couldn't leave John Wick out because this film is fantastic. It was a really, really good film, and I think a lot of people will agree. However, I think a lot of people might disagree that it deserves to be in the top 5, especially with how many films were released this year that were also really, really good. Now, you might notice that a large chunk of this list, yes, it's action-based, and this is why I said it's personal opinion, because I love action. It's something that's very close to my heart. However, there have still been films that have been action-based that are not included in this list, so it's not just primarily action films that are going to be included in this, but nonetheless, I've gone with John Wick 4 because it's a film that I thoroughly enjoyed. If you are looking for a film that is non-stop action, John Wick 4 is your go-to film. Now, of course, we had, obviously, the previous 3 John Wick films, and they were all really, really good. This one's quite different, though, because it's, full-on action, and we are pretty much, John Wick is going for the high table. He is going against everyone on the high table, and he wants to live his life as his own, rather than being devoted towards a high table. So, this film is about him kind of surviving, but also, making sure he takes down the high table, which, yes, there is a lot of people to go through, which means a lot of action. Also, to just very quickly add to that, this is one of Lance Reddick's last film. Yeah, he was a fantastic actor, and on top of that, I just loved him within this series as well. Yeah, rest in peace. He was a fantastic actor. But yeah. For this film, the budget was, again, $100 million. For the box office, it only made $440 million. It's still a profit of $340 million, which is not bad by all means, but I think it deserved to make a bit more. It was a really good film, and again, full of action, and the camera work was amazing, and again, graphically, the film was fantastic. I think it deserved to be, have more within its kind of money made. It should have made more. Okay, so we come to the last part of this video, and I'm now going to pretty much, tell you what films could have easily made it into this list. There are so many films that were released in 2023 that personally I loved, but personally a lot of other people loved as well. And it was fantastic. A lot of these films were really, really, really good. So, now we're going to talk about the films that could have easily made it into this list. So first off, we have Gran Turismo. This is a game that was, you know, originally obviously a game, but was now made into a film, and it was really, really good. Fantastic. On top of that, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. Everyone knows Five Nights at Freddy's. Again, they made a movie of it. Was really, really good. Also, Dungeons and Dragons. That was a really good film as well. Quite enjoyable. Of course, we had Barbie. Barbie was a really good film. It was, again, quite difficult not to put this in the list. It was either going to be Oppenheimer or Barbie. I knew personally I couldn't put both. I had to choose between one of them. But, you know, again, Barbie was still a fantastic film. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Again, just a fantastic film. I think that released pretty much at the start of the year. And I actually, not gonna lie, I did kind of forget about it, but still, I knew it was a film that I thoroughly enjoyed, and it was a good film. But again, just couldn't make it into the list. Now, one film that, again, was good, but I knew was never going to make it into the list was Fast X. Now, a lot of people might be shocked, a lot of personal friends might be shocked that I'm saying that, because I love the Fast and Furious franchise. However, Fast X was good, but out of the films that were released this year, was probably one of the films that was just on the lower end for me, which is quite upsetting to say. It's still a good film, but just nowhere near as good as the other films. And just to get through these last films, first off, we have Elemental. Fantastic Disney film. Absolutely loved that. Really, really good. We also had Wonka that recently was released. Fantastic film once again. Absolutely loved that. And we have Wish. Again, recently came out and was really, really good. Really enjoyed that. And also we had Scream 6. Again, just another film that was really well made. Those are all the films that easily could have made it into this. And yep, like I said, we have done the top 5. If I've missed any films that you think should have gone into this list, then please let me know in the comments. Let me know your top 5 as well. That would be really, really appreciated. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day and peace. Bye-bye.